Hello, good morning. I am back with another math video. I wanted to create this video because you might have noticed that we've moved out of our geometry unit and into our fourth unit of the year. This new unit is focused on place value. Students will be looking at numbers within 40. They'll be looking at how many groups of tens and how many ones are in a number, and then use that information to add and subtract within 40. So maybe about 2 units ago when we started using the take from 10 strategy, and oftentimes students were wondering or parents were wondering why we were asking students to decompose a double-digit number to take 8, 7, 8, or 9 from that number. It was because we were setting them up now for the work that we'll be doing in this unit. So our place value unit began by decomposing double-digit numbers again into those groups of tens and ones. You started to see that in the homework that came home last week. We just want to be careful. A common misconception for the students is how many groups of 10 are in a number. So that's conversations that you can have at home. It's difficult for students to understand that 10 single items have now turned into a group, and we only say one group of 10 when there are clearly 10 items in it. The misconception that you'll hear a lot is in the number 26, that they think it's 20 groups of tens and 6 ones. So that's something that we'll continue to build for them, but just as you're at home having conversations or they're doing some of their homework, just to keep reinforcing the idea that in order to have a group of 10, there must be 10 single items. After we looked at groups of tens and ones, we're now talking with the students about adding tens and adding ones. In our most recent lessons, students were asked to start drawing groups of tens with a single line. The reason they're asked to do groups of 10 like this is because we usually draw the organized 5 groups. So you're used to seeing 5 circles on the top, 5 circles on the bottom. But now that we're building numbers like 30 and 40, we don't want students to be drawing that many groups of 10 or groups of tens in that way. And now we're using what we call a quick 10. Students will see these 10 sticks, and these 10 sticks actually can line up 10 centimeter cubes. So we just show a 10 stick by doing a line. So if we asked them to show us the number 32, we would then see 3 groups of 10 and 2 ones. In this most recent lesson, students were asked to add 10 and take away 10, to add 1 and take away 1. What we're doing is we're building their knowledge that when they're adding 10, so if we looked at 32 plus 10, what's happening is the groups of 10 are changing, but the ones remain the same. The reason the ones remain the same is because we're not adding any ones because 10 has no ones. Students might be tempted to use their fingers to line up 10 under the 32, but what we really want is them to build the knowledge that the tens place is changing. You had 3, you're adding 1 more group of 10, which when it comes out is 4 groups of 10, and those 2 stay the same. Same thing when they're taking away 1. If we come back up here, I'll just quickly erase this, and we do 32 minus 1, we want students to be able to say that they know it's 31 because they're just taking a 1 away. The tens place will remain the same because 1 does not contain any groups of tens, and 2 minus 1 is the same as 1. So students might start to learn the trick or the shortcut that groups of 10 will always be on this side and the groups of ones will always be on this side, which is great for them to internalize. We just always want to make sure we're checking in with them about why something's happening. So they know that 32 minus 1 is 31, but why is the ones place changing and the tens place not? After that, we're going to start going into comparing numbers using the greater than, less than, and equal to sign. What we want students to continue to have conversations about are those groups of 10. So if we look at the numbers 28 and let's say 34, we're going to ask students to compare them. 28 is less than 34. The reason I know that 28 is less than 34 is because 28 only contains 2 groups of tens, but 34 has 3 groups of 10, which is more than 28. So we're really focused on the idea of groups of 10s and 1s. A way to help students see that is if you have any materials at home, such as beans, pennies, dimes, and when students create a group of 10, really centering those conversations around. There are 10 items, 10 single items in this group, but it is only one group of 10. We're helping them become more efficient counters, and then you'll start to see later on in our unit, we're going to start decomposing double-digit numbers, having the kids add the 10s first and then the 1s. In about a week and a half, we're going to take a mid-module assessment. That's an assessment that we use to kind of check in to see how the kids are progressing through the unit. On that mid-module assessment, students will be asked to identify groups of 10s and 1s in a double-digit number. They'll be asked to add 10 and 1, to subtract 10 and 1 from a double-digit number, and then they'll also be asked to compare double-digit numbers with a greater than, less than, and equal to sign, and talk about how they know a number is greater than or less than another number. You'll start to see all these skills coming home through the homework, so just keeping an eye out for that. We use the same resource for the homework and the assessment, so the assessments will be linked to the types of questions that you're seeing come home in the homework. Again, if you have any questions, please let a teacher know. Thank you so much for your support.